Welcome to Legacy Black of Power. 13 shocking cheating scandals in R&B history. They say a perfect song can be ruined by just one wrong note. For these R&B legends, that wrong note wasn't in the studio. It was in their love life. Cheating, the kind of betrayal that doesn't just break hearts, it breaks careers. Fame, fortune, and family, all shattered by temptation and lies. Behind the spotlight and soulful melodies were stories of secret affairs, broken vows, and painful regrets. And among them lies one scandal so shocking it tore a famous family apart for decades, a secret love child hidden from the world, until the truth finally came crashing down. So buckle up, because you're about to hear the most jaw-dropping tales of infidelity in R&B history, where passion met betrayal, and every note came with a price. Usher and Tameka Foster. Their love story began like a chart-topping hit, but ended like a heartbreak anthem. In the early 2000s, Usher ruled the music world. With his smooth voice and electrifying moves, he could make any crowd scream his name. But in 2007, fans were shocked when he married his stylist, Tameka Foster. On the surface, they looked unstoppable, a glamorous couple with two beautiful sons, living in luxury and love. But behind the mansion walls in Atlanta, that picture-perfect story was quietly falling apart. Rumors began to swirl. Whispers claimed Usher wasn't faithful, that he might still carry a torch for his ex, Chili from TLC. Others said he'd grown too close to his dancers while on tour. For Tameka, every headline was a dagger. Imagine reading about your own heartbreak in glossy magazines and gossip blogs for the whole world to see. Fame magnifies everything, including pain. By 2009, just 2 years after saying "I do," the fairy tale had turned to ashes. Usher filed for divorce, igniting one of the most bitter and public breakups in R&B history. The courtroom battles over their sons were raw, emotional, and relentless. It was a tragic end to a love that once seemed untouchable. And as the world watched their story unravel, another scandal was already brewing, one that would push the boundaries of love, loyalty, and betrayal even further. Alicia Keys and Swizz Beatz, a love story wrapped in controversy. Alicia Keys, celebrated for her soulful voice and empowering anthems, has long been seen as a beacon of grace and positivity in the music world. So when news broke in 2009 that she was romantically involved with superstar producer Swizz Beatz, fans were stunned. The problem? Swizz, whose real name is Kasim Dean, was still legally married to R&B singer Mas Honda Frere at the time. Mas Honda wasn't silent. She took her heartbreak public, posting open letters accusing Alicia of being the reason her marriage crumbled. She described feeling betrayed, not just by her husband, but by a woman she once considered a friend. Mas Honda claimed she'd come home to find signs of another woman in her house, and even alleged that Swizz had gifted Alicia a $15,000 painting while they were still married. For a while, Alicia and Swizz denied everything, insisting his marriage was already over when their romance began. Still, the public was divided. The girl next door of R&B was suddenly being called a homewrecker, and the media frenzy was relentless. In 2010, Swizz's divorce was finalized, and just months later, he and Alicia married in a small, private ceremony overlooking the Mediterranean. Today, they share 2 children and continue to present a picture of strength and unity. But for many, their love story will always be remembered as one born out of heartbreak and controversy, a reminder that even the most beautiful melodies can begin on a dissonant note. Tamar, Braxton, and Vince Herbert's love story once looked like a dream come true. Tamar, the fiery diva with a voice that could shake a stadium, and Vince, the powerhouse producer behind countless hits, were more than just husband and wife. They were a brand. Together, they built a musical empire, balancing fame, family, and fortune, while letting fans peek into their world through their hit reality show Tamar and Vince. To the outside world, they seemed unstoppable. She was a rising star, and he was a man making it all happen. But behind the cameras, cracks began to show. The pressures of fame, business, and marriage started to collide. By 2017, after 9 years together, Tamar filed for divorce, and the truth behind their perfect partnership began to unravel. On Christmas Day, Tamar dropped a shocking bombshell. She accused Vince of cheating, and even claimed he'd gotten another woman pregnant. The revelation exploded online, especially when rumors spread that the other woman was a reality TV star. The betrayal went far beyond infidelity. It was about trust, power, and control. How could Tamar trust her husband to manage her career when he was betraying her at home? Legal battles over money and property soon followed, turning their once glamorous union into a painful public saga. Their story became a cautionary tale. When love, money, and fame collide, the damage can destroy everything. And if you thought the scandal was explosive, wait until you hear what came next. The next story takes betrayal to an even darker level. Kay. Michelle has never been one to hold her tongue. Known for her raw honesty in both her music and her TV appearances, she built her brand on truth, even when it hurt. But behind that fearless voice was a painful chapter that nearly destroyed her. In the late 2000s, Kay. Michelle fell deeply in love with music executive Memphis, right? A man who promised to help her rise to stardom. Instead, their relationship turned into a nightmare. Years later, on Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta, Kay. Michelle shocked the world with her revelations. She claimed that during their time together, Memphis had been unfaithful, cheating with multiple women, and worse, that he had been physically and emotionally abusive. But the betrayal didn't stop there. Professionally, she said he used his influence in the music industry to sabotage her dreams. Money meant for her music career allegedly vanished, spent on himself and gifts for other women. And when she finally found the courage to leave, she claimed he blackballed her, warning people in the industry not to work with her. For years, her career stood still, her voice silenced by whispers of power and manipulation. Memphis, who later married reality star Toya Wright, denied every accusation and even sued Kay, Michelle, for defamation. What followed was an ugly public war, one fought in headlines, courtrooms, and social media. But Kay, Michelle, didn't break. She turned her pain into power, pouring every ounce of heartbreak into her music. Her voice, once silenced, became her weapon. And through that, she inspired thousands of women to reclaim their strength. Because it takes more than talent to survive in this industry. It takes courage to rise again after betrayal. And speaking of betrayal, the next story involves a superstar caught in a love triangle with two of the most famous women in the world. Chris Brown, Rihanna, and Karrueche Tran. Few names in pop culture have ever been linked in such a turbulent love story. What began as a young, passionate romance between Chris and Rihanna quickly turned into one of the most shocking headlines of the 2000s. They were the golden couple of R&B, talented, magnetic, and madly in love, until one violent night shattered their fairy tale and changed everything. After their breakup, Chris tried to rebuild his life and found comfort in model Karrueche Tran. For a while, it seemed he had turned a new page. But soon, the past came knocking again, and what followed became one of the messiest love triangles in modern music history. Between 2011 and 2015, Chris was constantly caught between the two women, seen with one, then collaborating musically with the other. Every twist played out publicly, turning social media into a stage for heartbreak, jealousy, and confusion. Then came the video that stunned the world. In 2012, Chris confessed he was in love with two women at the same time, Rihanna and Karrueche, his voice trembling with guilt and honesty. Fans couldn't look away. Yet love built on pain rarely lasts. His reunion with Rihanna was short-lived, and though he returned to Karrueche, that too ended in heartbreak. In 2015, the final blow hit when news broke that Chris had fathered a daughter, Royalty, with another woman, while still dating Karrueche. She discovered the truth online, just like everyone else, and walked away for good. What began as young love turned into a cautionary tale, a reminder that fame, passion, and heartbreak often collide in the harshest spotlight of all. Mariah Carey and Nick Cannon, a love story straight out of a Hollywood dream, until the dream began to crack. When the pop diva married the young actor and TV host in 2008, fans were stunned. She was a global music icon, more than a decade his senior, and he was a rising entertainer best known for his comedic charm. Still, for a while, they seemed genuinely in love. Their wedding was extravagant, their vows renewed every year, and in 2011 they welcomed twins, a boy and a girl they lovingly called Dem Babies. To the world, it looked like the perfect family fairy tale. But as Nick's star began to rise, the harmony started to fade. Between hosting shows, DJing at clubs, and living the fast-paced life of a celebrity, whispers of infidelity began to swirl. And when Nick openly discussed his past flings on a radio show, even naming 5 famous women he'd been with, it humiliated Mariah, who had always guarded her private life with care. Soon, their worlds drifted apart. Mariah preferred quiet nights with her children, while Nick thrived in the spotlight. The trust that once bound them unraveled. After 6 years of marriage, they separated in 2014 and finalized their divorce 2 years later. What began as a fairy tale ended in heartbreak. A reminder that even the brightest love can dim under the glare of fame. But if you think that was dramatic, wait until you hear about the singer who fell for a married man and ended up in a courtroom showdown that shocked the industry. Fantasia Barrino and Antwaun Cook. When Fantasia Barrino won American Idol in 2004, she wasn't just another singer. She was a miracle in motion. Her raw, soulful voice and story of triumph over hardship made America fall in love with her. But fame, as it often does, came with shadows. In 2009, Fantasia's fairy tale took a heartbreaking turn. She began a relationship with Antwaun Cook, a man who, as the world would soon learn, was already married with children. What started as a private romance spiraled into one of the most public scandals of her career. When Antwaun's wife, Paula Cook, filed a lawsuit in North Carolina, the headlines exploded. Few knew that North Carolina is one of the rare states where you can sue someone for alienation of affection. In other words, for stealing your spouse's love. As the case unfolded, Fantasia's private life was laid bare in court. Text messages between her and Antwaun were exposed. And then came the moment that broke hearts across the nation. Fantasia took the stand and tearfully admitted she had become pregnant by Antwaun and later had an abortion, believing his promises that he would leave his wife. The weight of the public shame, the betrayal, and the relentless media pressure pushed Fantasia to the brink. It was one of the darkest chapters of her life, where every ounce of pain she once sang about became her reality. But through that storm, she eventually rose again, proving that even the most broken hearts can find their way back to the music. Mary J. Blige and Kendu Isaacs. Mary J. Blige, the undisputed queen of hip-hop soul, has built her empire on songs born from pain, passion, and perseverance. Her voice carried the weight of survival, and for a long time, fans believed she had finally found her peace. In 2003, she married her manager, Martin Kendu Isaacs. For 12 years, he was not only her husband, but also her business partner, the man she trusted with both her heart and her fortune. But in 2016, that fairy tale came crashing down. Mary filed for divorce, and what she discovered behind closed doors was devastating. Kendu had been unfaithful for years. The other woman, a young artist Mary herself had mentored and financially supported. It wasn't just betrayal, it was a knife to the soul. Reports revealed that Kendu had even used Mary's hard-earned money to fund romantic getaways and buy lavish gifts for his mistress. Imagine realizing your own success had been financing your heartbreak. The divorce turned into a brutal battlefield. Kendu demanded an outrageous $130,000 a month in spousal support, forcing Mary to fight not just for her money, but for her dignity. Still, she did what she's always done best, turn her pain into power. The heartbreak fueled some of her most soul-stirring music, raw with truth and resilience. Yet, the scars of that 12-year deception ran deep. Few wounds cut as sharply as discovering the person you loved most used your own hands to destroy you. And if you think that story was shocking, wait until you hear about the next legendary artist whose marriage was haunted by endless cheating rumors with some of Hollywood's biggest stars. Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston. Their love story began like a fairy tale and ended like a headline no one could escape. When the R&B bad boy and the pop princess tied the knot in 1992, it was a union of two musical powerhouses, but also the collision of two worlds. Bobby was wild, unpredictable, and raw. Whitney was elegance, perfection, and control. Together, they were fire and ice, magnetic but destined to melt down. What followed was one of the most publicized marriages in music history. 15 years of passion, chaos, and heartbreak. From the start, their relationship was shadowed by betrayal. Bobby himself later admitted he hadn't been faithful, and the tabloids ran wild with stories of his affairs. These weren't ordinary flings. They were explosive rumors linking him to pop royalty, Janet Jackson, even Madonna. For Whitney, those headlines were more than gossip. They were daggers. Imagine being one of the most beloved voices in the world and waking up to stories about your husband's alleged trysts with other icons. Already battling the crushing weight of fame and her own private demons, Whitney found herself fighting another enemy, heartbreak. Bobby's infidelity deepened her pain and insecurity, eroding the fragile trust between them. What could have been a storybook romance became one of music's most tragic love stories, a reminder that sometimes even the brightest stars can burn each other out. But cheating was only part of the tragedy. Because what happens when a man's betrayal goes beyond infidelity? When he makes a life-changing decision for his partner without her consent? That's where the story turned from scandal to something even darker. Ne-Yo and Monyetta Shaw. Singer and songwriter Ne-Yo built his empire on songs about love, devotion, and heartbreak. But his own love story became one of the most painful ironies in R&B history. In the early 2010s, he was deeply in love with Monyetta Shaw. They were engaged, raising two beautiful children, their daughter Maydeen and son Mason, and to the world, they looked like the perfect family. Marriage seemed inevitable, but behind the smiles, cracks were already forming. By 2013, whispers of infidelity began to circulate, and the fairy tale fell apart. When the breakup went public, fans were heartbroken, but the real shock came when Monyetta revealed what had truly happened. During their relationship, the couple had agreed they were done having children. To make it permanent, Monyetta underwent a tubal ligation, while Ne-Yo promised to get a vasectomy. It was supposed to be a shared, lifelong decision, a symbol of trust. But that trust was shattered. Ne-Yo not only left her, he later married Crystal Renee and went on to have more children. Monyetta was left carrying the emotional and physical consequences of a decision she could never undo, while he built a new life as if their promise never existed. It wasn't just betrayal. It was deception at the deepest level. Imagine sacrificing a part of yourself for love, only to realize the person you trusted most was building a future without you. And as painful as that sounds, the next story is just as heartbreaking. Ciara and Future. In 2013, the music world couldn't stop talking about Ciara and Future, the R&B princess and the hip-hop hitmaker who seemed like the perfect match. Their chemistry was undeniable. They made music together, appeared inseparable in public, and spoke openly about their love. Soon, Future slipped a ring on Ciara's finger, and by early 2014, they announced they were expecting their first child. For a moment, it felt like a fairy tale. Ciara was glowing, deeply in love, and dreaming of forever with a man she believed was her soulmate. In May of that year, she gave birth to their son, Future Zaire Wilburn, a beautiful beginning to what should have been a lifelong bond. But just 3 months later, that dream collapsed. Headlines exploded with claims that Future had been unfaithful. Leaked messages and insider whispers revealed a pattern of cheating. Even during Ciara's pregnancy, the betrayal hit her like a thunderclap. She had just become a mother, planning a wedding and building a family, only to discover her fiancé's disloyalty. The engagement was instantly over. The breakup was raw, public, and deeply painful. Ciara later opened up about those dark days, admitting she cried and prayed her way through the heartbreak. It was a painful reminder that even the most picture-perfect romances can hide devastating secrets. In time, she found peace and real love again, this time with NFL star Russell Wilson, but the scars from being betrayed at her most vulnerable stayed with her. Being cheated on while pregnant is cruel enough. But imagine your ex moving on, not just with anyone, but with someone from your own circle. That's heartbreak on an entirely new level of drama. Omarion and Apryl Jones, a love story turned scandal. Omarion, the smooth voice frontman of the 2000s R&B sensation B2K, seemed to have it all: fame, talent, and the woman of his dreams, Apryl Jones. Their love story played out on Love and Hip Hop, Hollywood, where fans watched them build what looked like a picture-perfect family. Together they shared two beautiful children, Megan and May, and for a while, everything seemed golden. Then, in 2016 came the shock. Without warning, Omarion and Apryl announced their breakup. No drama, no clues, just silence. For years, fans were left guessing what really happened behind closed doors. But in 2019, the silence shattered, and the truth hit like a thunderbolt. Apryl Jones went public with Lil Fizz, Omarion's own bandmate and childhood friend. The same Lil Fizz who once shared the stage and the spotlight with him. It was a betrayal no one saw coming. Suddenly, the B2K brotherhood was in flames. Fans took sides. Some stood by Apryl, claiming Omarion hadn't been faithful, while others saw our new romance as the ultimate act of disloyalty. Apryl hinted that emotional neglect and suspicious messages from Omarion had already broken her heart long before she moved on. The situation spiraled into one of the messiest love triangles in R&B history, a painful mix of love, loyalty, and betrayal that blurred the lines between friendship and fame. Yet, out of heartbreak, Omarion did what true artists do. He turned pain into music. And just like that, one of the most infamous scandals in hip-hop love history gave birth to some of his most unforgettable songs. Marvin Gaye, The Price of Passion and Pain. Marvin Gaye wasn't just a singer, he was the soul of a generation. His voice carried desire, heartbreak, and truth in every note, creating songs that define what it means to love and lose. But behind that smooth sound was a man battling his own storms. Twice married, first to Anna Gordy, the sister of Motown's founder Berry Gordy, and later to Janice Hunter, Marvin's relationships were filled with passion, betrayal, and heartbreak. His affair with Janice began while he was still married to Anna, and the guilt of those choices followed him everywhere. Instead of hiding from his mistakes, Marvin turned his pain into poetry. His 1978 album here, My Dear, wasn't just a record. It was his divorce settlement, ordered by the court to pay Anna with the album's royalties. But what he delivered was far more than money. It was raw emotion, every lyric a confession. And his hit Sexual Healing? That was born from the same chaos, a man trying to find peace through his own demons. Marvin Gaye's story proves that sometimes the most timeless music comes from the deepest heartbreak. If you love uncovering the real stories behind music legends, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another story that shaped music history.